everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Appreciate you all checking us out wherever you are in this world. This is Compra Casa San Diego, real estate and mortgage info en tu idioma. So thank you all again for checking us out. We really do appreciate you hanging out and taking time out of your day. We have a special guest with us today. Her name is Jessica. What's up, Jessica?
Hello.
Hey. Jessica is a homeowner first and foremost. She has an incredible story that she's going to be sharing with us today. So we asked her to come on, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and hang out with us and share your story. And the reason why we did that is because we want you guys to hear it from somebody else outside of this group, somebody who's not normally at this table.
A real deal.
We always want to.
We are the real deal, but from
an outside source. Yeah.
We always want to give you different perspectives, different stories, and more importantly, empowering stories on why you all should take that next step and talk to us, talk to a professional about getting pre-approved for a home loan, becoming a homeowner, because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of steps. That's why you're watching this show. But I promise you, if you do that, you're going to be happy. You're going to be getting
and you will become a homeowner.
Right, all day. So I want to give her a quick opportunity to give a shameless plug here. You're a notary public. You run your own business.
Yes, loan signing agent.
Loan signing agent. Mm-hmm. And so for those of our friends who are checking us out of their industry, we'll have her contact information below, and would love to have you contact her for any of your signings. Yeah, please. So we're going to start way back. Jessica was born on a farm. So, we wanted to have her share her story with her.
Over the border.
Because, I just met Jessica myself, but Ricardo and Myrna have known her for quite a long time, and she has a very incrediable story about homeownership. And so if maybe we can just start from the beginning. I found out you were not working with Myrna, but you were working at a company. You started at a mortgage company, right? Correct. Data entry or loan processing.
As a receptionist, and then office assistant.
How long ago? This was back in
around 2005.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So is that company still around?
Nope.
No comment.
I wouldn't know. I was in middle school.
Right. And so
the real estate
Jessica
office, right?
got exposed to the industry by listening to, hanging out with the there at our office. And when we spoke off camera yesterday, you started hearing these stories about people buying houses and kind of what was going on. And you're like, why not me?
Right. Everybody was buying houses left and right. So I was like, okay, I want to buy a house too.
Right.
Okay, but at that time, how old were you?
I was only 23 years old.
Only a couple of years ago. Only a couple of years ago.
And
23 years old,
of becoming
right?
a homeowner.
Dude, that's killer. Chanel has a story very similar to that.
Yep.
Young as AF and by homeowners.
AF. I easily, early on, learned that I want to do the same.
Because you were exposed to it, right?
Omar and Diego were, even though they were not my bosses, early on, I knew that I needed to be with them, and they've always been my mentors. And it's just in norm to have those conversations. My house this, my house that, my tenant. So those terms were always, not said for me or to me, but in front of me.
Consider yourselves lucky to be able to be in that position, in that opportunity, right? And for those of you that are listening to us who maybe are not, we hope that this is your experience or your
motivation,
opportunity to learn about the do's and don'ts and whatnot. So
I don't think I would even be a homeowner right now if I wasn't in the industry.
All day. So started, talking to your boss. You're like, let's go ahead and get pre-approved, and so you did.
Or how did it go?
Okay, so back then, there wasn't that many requirements. It was easier.
It's much more relaxed, we'll say.
Right. So
it was the old 80-20s.
Right?
No money
The
down.
Wild West.
100% finance.
I'm glad you mentioned
I'll
that because it wasn't 80-20. It wasn't 80-20 then.
It was the first and a second.
The first and a second.
If we can have our resident loan officer school us on what an 80-20 is, I think that'd be important.
So an 80-20 were really popular back in 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006. And they were very popular because it was a way that the banks came up with circumventing the PMI regulations. So it allowed people to basically put no skin in the game, and they would get financed, right? No down payment, circumventing the PMI requirement. But that actually contributed to the housing crash of 2008. If I'm not mistaken.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. And so they kind of did away with those programs. So now
They got away with murder.
now they require people to put money down. But the down payment requirements are still very low, which people don't know, right? You could there's programs with 1% down payment or 3% down payment.
Or
in
zero.
certain situations, 0 down payment if you qualify for the programs.
And just side note, for those of you who served in the military, your VA benefit is a 0% down payment, 100% finance mortgage. We'll talk about that at a later show.
And if you're purchasing in a rural area,
Rural area, yeah, you can use the USDA
somebody's
loan.
starting their old truck.
rural, yeah.
Rural.
It's closer to like the
So
border.
it was an 80-20 loan. You had a first and a second.
Interest only
On the second,
and a
most
prepayment
likely.
penalty.
Oh, so
She had a
had it
fixed
all.
2-year loan
More
with a
likely.
3-year prepay.
right.
Right? With a 3-year prepay back in the day.
And
That makes
zero
complete sense.
interest.
And zero.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
got stuck with that loan, and I couldn't refinance.
Right. So
because that's when the
market shifted.
crashed.
So you had an adjustable rate mortgage. Your rate adjusted. The
My
market
payment.
adjusted, unfortunately, at that time started coming down, and most people who wanted to refinance couldn't because there's no value in their
Right.
property. Right?
My-
They owed
right.
more than what the property was worth.
So before you got into your house, though, like how was it shopping for a home during that time?
Oh.
Like who was helping you? Like was it easy or?
It was pretty easy. I think it was my loan officer was also my agent.
Okay.
He did it all. Back then, you didn't even need a license to be a loan officer. I
Well,
don't
you
remember
did,
much.
but back then we were under the Department of Real Estate. So if you had a real estate license, you were able to do both.
Correct.
Do we regret that? We don't.
we don't condone
Correct.
that,
Yes,
those
but
activities.
back in the days, if you had a real estate license, it's either you're a loan officer, you originate loans, or you could go and you could do real
You could
estate.
do both.
Right.
You could do both.
Right.
Right.
Yes, that's another topic.
So I basically just saw a house that I really liked in Lemon Grove. It was like $525K, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, okay, this is it. Let's do it.
Right.
And I just went for it.
And you
At
became a
23.
homeowner.
And
Congratulations
he did the
at
loan.
23, 24 on top of that.
Yes.
So, and that's killer. That's great. So then we go back to the unfortunate circumstance of the,
Market crash.
the real estate market crash and whatnot. And so at that time you had to make a decision. And so you decided to just let the property.
Right. I had to let it go because there was no way that I could afford a $5,000 payment.
Right.
From
Payment
but,
doubled.
but your
what was
initial
the payment?
payment.
What was the initial payment?
2,500. It doubled up.
So then it went
It
to
doubled to
5,000.
five.
Yes, it
Right.
doubled.
Right.
And-
So you didn't do a short sale. You actually
no, I
you foreclosed
foreclosure.
on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just
So
let it go.
Unfortunately, a very common story, but and something that happened to a lot of people, and where most people would say, "I'm done forever.
Right.
I'm scared.
I'm
I don't
scarred."
want to go through. I'm scarred for life." Jessica at a later time had the opportunity to get back into the market.
Right. After that, I went to rent for a while, and I didn't like running, so I was like, I'm gonna
Give it another shot.
Gotta
give
get back
it
on the
another
horse.
shot. Yes.
How did you feel, or what was your thought process on? You just knew you had to get back into the real estate market and to become a
Yes. No matter
homeowner.
what, I thought like
Yeah.
I just need to somehow figure this out.
Right.
Get back on my feet. Like repair my credit.
Why didn't you like renting, Jessica?
I didn't want to pay somebody else's mortgage.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
I wanted to pay my own.
Stick it
It's
to the man.
because we all preach that on a daily basis, so it's nice to hear
Somebody
who
else, right.
actually says it. Who's, I mean, you're not a real estate agent, you're not a mortgage loan officer. You don't come on here every day on your social media to say that, but it's very nice to hear that. You
It's
know?
reality.
It's the truth. You know.
And how challenging was for you to get into that second house? Or was it a pretty easy process?
No, it wasn't easy. But the second time I did get a fixed loan.
So you learn. So you learn from
Your previous
Yes,
mistakes.
I did get a 30-year fix. I did get it was a condo. This time it was like it was $290.
Wow.
And it was a good payment. It's just that the problem was that because the market was still dropping, I panicked and I said, wait, it dropped all the way to 100 from
You're 290.
from the 290. So I was
So
like,
kind of the same situation happened. It wasn't a good situation that happened for you, and due to personal circumstances as well at that time,
Right, yeah.
payment got
Overwhelming.
a little overwhelming, and so you had to again,
Right. And it was at that time I was also expecting my second baby.
right?
My partner at the time and I we got laid off as well. So we had no income, expecting a baby.
And the value of your home
the
kept going
value
down.
dropped.
And that,
So you
that's
couldn't
a-
refinance.
What
So-
year was this?
It was, I don't remember exactly the year, but it was a couple of years after.
It's a scary
I'm thinking
situation.
it was around 2006, 2008 when that happened.
It's a tough situation to be in. It's something that happens to people all the time. I mean, the economy right now is going through a tough situation, and
Right.
so
Okay, but I do have to say this, and I get this question all the time, even though it's been over 10 years when Jessica had that scenario. She had a fixed payment.
Right.
She learned from her first mistake. You know what? Shit happens, and it's okay. You know, I'm glad that you didn't say I'm gonna give up. Now I'm gonna get into a new home. I'm gonna make sure that it's a fixed rate. She got into the fixed rate, but then values
happens.
drop, and
dropping.
now my 100,000. Clients nowadays, they have that fear. What if I buy a house and the market drops? I'm like, it's never going to drop the way that it was for
No.
millions of reasons,
there-
right?
Well,
There's
here's the
stops
deal.
in
Well, here's the
place.
deal. Even if the market drops, people need to understand this, okay?
Yes.
This is for all the homeowners and first-time homeowners and all that.
And the new buyers.
New buyers, more specifically.
Yes.
Real estate is a long play game, just like the stock market, okay? Now, I don't know anything about the stock market, right? But more recently, I've started getting a little bit deeper into it, and I started kind of seeing that it's tied into real estate, okay? It's a long play. So if the properties go down in value, that's okay.
As long as you have that fixed payment.
As long as you have a fixed mortgage payment, it doesn't really matter because, for example, in your situation, Jessica, you could have back then
yes.
had someone,
Absolutely.
showed you and educated you on that. You could have easily
Exactly.
rented it out, right?
Exactly.
And still keep that asset because, yes, it went down to 100,000, but that same condo, what area was it in San Diego?
Chula Vista.
Chula Vista. That same condo is probably worth
yeah.
over $500,000,
Funny,
$600,000.
we spoke about that
Right?
too.
Yes,
and unfortunately, all that boils down to is just lack of information, lack
and
of
having
education.
good guidance, having
Having
a
a
good real estate
professional by your
agent, a
side.
good
Right.
loan officer
Absolutely.
behind you.
I didn't have anyone to
Right.
guide me.
Sure.
yet.
Right.
And you were still
And-
learning yourself.
Right, I was
And
still
not even
learning.
the realtor that helped you get into the home?
They don't know.
No,
At that
no.
time,
Right.
anybody
We were-
could sell.
right.
You breathe,
Yeah.
you
That
sell.
sucks.
They
Yeah.
had very little experience. We were all learning at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that's,
So
that's
the agent that helped you purchase the first one, was that the same agent who helped you purchase the second?
Yes.
We want names. No, I'm kidding. And so,
Tell me after.
that goes down the second time, where most people would at that point completely, shut the door on homeownership because they've got burnt twice or they got, it's a scary
Well,
situation.
she kind of did because she let the house go.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But she
where after
didn't
that
give up.
experience, most people would not want to re-enter because
It would
they're.
crumble.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't let that stop you from becoming
No.
a homeowner again,
No, I was like, okay, now what do I do?
right?
So what did you do?
So tell us. That's when I came to Mirna for help.
Who?
Mirna Rios.
Oh, damn!
Yes.
Very
so, she.
But what
let
happened?
them know that
Yeah.
you actually rented the house that you actually own right now. That's a very good story.
Let her
It's-
get to the story.
Right.
She's ancient. She's
Let's
ancient.
tell us
Tell
the
us
truth.
how you
This is a
got
half
to
an
the
hour
point.
show. Mira, we gotta pull in some
Tell us
filler
how you
here,
got
bro.
to the point where you said, "Okay, I'm ready to purchase my third home."
Well, I wasn't ready.
Oh, okay, so
And
how
you
did
know what?
how
Is
did-
that
Here,
anybody
take it
ever
away.
really ready?
Take,
I
no,
mean,
take it away.
No, I was not ready at all. I
Right.
just didn't. I felt lost. I didn't know what to do. I had failed for the second time. At that point of I thought I would never be able to own again. But then when I met Mirna,
Mirna comes dropping out of the sky
she
with angel wings on.
hope.
Yeah.
She guided me. She, even though she knew that it was going to be a long time.
Oh yeah, it was a tough.
So where did you go
But-
when you lost your
Sorry.
second house?
So I had no choice but to go live with my mom. She was renting a house, which she happened to have the studio also attached to the house that was available. So that's where I went. I had to sacrifice for a bit until I figured what I was going to do next.
What you're going to do, right.
And that's when I...
Which is no shame in that, by the way.
Well,
Not at
that
all.
property
Save money.
that she was renting, the seller decided to sell.
Let her tell the story.
Wait, Mirna can jump in. It's meaningful to her
I'm
just
kidding.
as much.
No, because that is a natural.
You know?
That was a
She-
natural.
Yes,
Before
she's
she
the
was involved. She was
LO.
involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Touched
because I would run to her like for everything. So
That was your
she
go-to
knows.
real estate
Yeah.
mortgage expert.
That's what-
Well, the
yeah,
first
exactly.
two didn't work out, so I'm glad
There
this
you go.
didn't work.
But so you went in with Mom's. You rented out the studio that she had. You were there for a couple years, and then
Next thing you know, it's for sale.
knock.
Yeah.
The property that
The property
They
you lived
lived
in
in.
with your mom.
That
Yes.
Mom's was
Okay.
renting.
It's
Okay,
for
it's
sale.
for sale.
It's
They
for
put
sale.
it up for sale.
By uno.
I wasn't quite ready yet, but then I was like,
No.
okay, I either go rent
Again.
or
Somewhere
Hell
else.
no.
rent again, or I figure this out. So that's when Mirna suggested a co-signer because I couldn't do it on my own. Due to being self-employed, I also wasn't filing my taxes correctly, so I didn't have the income. I didn't have my credit yet, like all the way where it was supposed to be. So I had to ask somebody to co-sign, and thankfully someone
did.
someone
Before
did.
we get to the end of that story, I want to just jump back to the audience and say, does this sound familiar to you? Or I'm sure you've heard this story before, or
Parents.
you have a friend of a family or whatever. It happens. It's not the first time, nor will it be the last time that something like that is an experience to a family. And so what I'm trying to get at is that, take a cue from Jessica, get yourself informed, don't give up. Feeling scared and angry and all that is natural and it's valid. But look, she didn't give up, right? And she's in a much better position now. I'm gonna let her finish that story because it's really cool.
Yeah,
but I just
sure.
wanted to have it go back to you guys because I want you guys to know that this is somebody who is just. We're all just like you too, but she's just like you.
Right. She's not a part of the podcast.
Right?
She's
No,
literally
I mean,
a real person.
You know, she's in the industry as a loan signer, but she has a family and kids and whatnot, and so anybody can do this as long as you take the proper steps. Give us a call, DM us. Reach out to us. Come visit us at our office on 3rd Avenue in downtown Chula Vista. We'd love to sit down and just talk, right?
And put a plan for you.
Conversation
Put a plan
never
for
hurt
you.
nobody.
Get you home.
But then from there we can kind of figure out and
And we have free beer at our office in Chula Vista.
Diego serves beer all
Yeah,
days
there's
behind the
free
bar.
beer
Why
there.
didn't you bring it?
Right. So sorry. Go ahead, Jessica. And so they put the property up for sale.
You got a co-signer.
Yes.
We got a co-signer.
And I was able to purchase my.
Hey, there you go.
And you live there now.
Yes.
Very cool.
And
What
this
happened to the
is-
studio? Do you rent the studio
I
out
rent
now?
the studio.
Damn,
Very
pow.
Damn.
Let's go.
Okay,
And that's
but let's talk about the payment versus I'm renting the studio for. I don't remember how much, but then when I presented the mortgage payment, she's like, "Oh wow, I can't do this." Well, if you compare, back then rents were not as high as now, but she's like, she saw the potential of renting the studio, getting in, even though she wasn't very content about having a co-signer. But I'm like, Jessica, this is it's just a way for you to get
it's
in.
a
It was only
temporary
for a little
fix,
bit. I was
right.
able to I was able to refinance thanks to Mirna again. And I was able to take over the loan on my own. And that was the best feeling
that's so
ever.
cool. That is so cool.
And now
Yeah.
I bet that studio pays your mortgage.
Oh, yeah,
day.
absolutely.
You know what? Let me borrow $20.
Hey, that's a point that I want to make really quick, though. It's super important because if you're a first-time home buyer, okay, and let's say you qualify for a single-family residence, right? Mm-hmm. What's the most concerning thing to a first-time home buyer when they're buying a home?
Payment.
Payment.
Right.
So here's the deal. At Secure Funding Group, we have renovation loans, right? Where if you qualify to buy that house, we can then get you qualified for a loan to build an accessory dwelling unit, also known as an ADU or granny flat or a studio. So if you're too concerned about the first mortgage payment, but if you qualify for it, get into it. Let's get you qualified for a Reno loan. We'll do the build out for you, and now you can offset that mortgage payment with the
Exactly.
income that you're going to generate from that ADU.
And I appreciate you bringing that up because it's
my next step.
It's a great step. We'll put a contract together.
Yes,
after
no,
this.
and that's something that she's been thinking about. She's like, Myrna, I'm like, go for it. Yes, it's another debt, but who's going to pay for it? That
The
tenant.
renter. Right.
I mean, right now, thank God she's in heaven. She has no mortgage payment, but with an ADU, more likely she's going to have,
Positive cash flow.
Right.
and then she can move on to her dream home.
Absolutely.
Right.
Then
That's
you
how
can
it
let me
works.
borrow that 20.
You'll
That's
get
my
that
goal.
time.
That's my goal.
That's awesome.
Right. So congratulations to you. I mean,
you.
it's a real life story. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's dope.
Yeah, right.
like
I mean, it's
It's single mom, self-employed. So for everybody that's seeing out there, I'm on 40 hours. If this girl could do it, self-employed with 2 kids, anyone could actually be a potential home buyer.
Yeah.
yeah. Ahora en español.
Que para cualquier
Sí se
persona,
puede.
no, sí se puede.
Yeah.
Jessica, una mamá soltera, self-employed,
Que trabaja por su propia
trabaja
cuenta.
por su propia cuenta, bien luchona. I mean, si ocupas firmar tus documentos porque te vas a ir a Cancún a las 3 de la
Luchona,
mañana.
no buchona.
Esta
Luchona.
muchacha está ahí firmando documentos a las 3 de la mañana, aparte que hace un trabajo así como que like super wow. Todo el mundo puede comprar, el que quiere de nuevo puede. Es una historia súper real porque yo la he vivido personalmente y en veces she overthinks, pero mírala. Ya va a tener 3 propiedades y va a poder comprar la casa ideal para ella. Totalmente.
Y eventualmente va a poder dejar un patrimonio para sus hijos.
Así es.
¿Verdad? Y posiblemente no tener que trabajar tanto
Sí.
porque pues ya te están entrando tus rentas.
Claro.
Qué bien.
I think a lot of like peers that I grew up with, they don't own homes yet, because all of this was happening when we were in high school, and all of I would always hear this, oh, my parents lost their home,
Right.
and I never understood until obviously fast forward to today. I'm like, lost their home, like what does that mean? What do they mean?
It's almost ingrained into
So-
it's part of history, right?
And again, I'm sure that affected kids because although we were in high school, we didn't know what
yeah.
that truly meant.
But there's
I mean,
a
they're
big part to
moving
that,
out.
Chanel. There's a huge part to that.
There's
because-
life after.
Well, not only that,
Right.
but
You know, like,
back then, anyone could qualify.
Right.
There weren't safeguards built in, and that's super important to understand. That if
Times
you
are
now,
different.
yes,
Yeah.
if you now qualify for a loan,
You legitimately
you truly
qualify.
for a loan.
Yeah.
Right.
Before anyone could say,
Right.
"I make XYZ amount of money," they don't verify. Here's a loan for $1 million. They
Right.
were setting you up
for failure.
Mm-hmm.
And to stress the importance, again, I have someone ask me this every single day, like, well, what about the rate? Well, look, miss, ma'am, sir,
Focus on the
you're
payment.
telling me you don't want to pay more than $4,500. Who cares about the rate? Who cares if it's 10%, 20%, 6%, 2%? It's we're not going to exceed 4,500, right? By the way, you only qualify for 4,900, so we're not going to exceed those two
No, it's
things.
true.
So it's just
And-
don't stop caring about the rate. Turn off CNN.
And here's the deal, guys.
It's
That's
just-
I want to say one last point before we go here. It's super important to understand. I said this on the last episode that you guys had me on, especially in Southern California, San Diego, since it's our backyard,
Poppington.
right? If you can buy anything,
Just get in there.
get in.
Buy it.
Right.
Get in because
Right.
San Diego. There's no place like the sunny. What do
It's
they call it?
What do you call
America's
it?
finest
America's
city.
finest city.
Finest city.
Well,
San Diego.
I'm going to piggyback off of that and buy something, and you might take it a certain way coming from a real estate agent,
Correct.
but buy it now because when rates get better, which we're expecting them to do in
It's happening.
first,
It's
second
already
quarter,
happening.
people that were on the fence last year are coming out, and it's all boils down to the law of supply and demand. Unfortunately, we have very little supply in San Diego County. We're having, demand is growing weekly. You're gonna pay more for a property in the next couple weeks than you would today. Yesterday's price ain't gonna be today's price, and tomorrow's price ain't gonna be today's price. And I say that respectfully, and I'm not trying to sell nobody on nothing, but if it ain't us, which I don't see why it wouldn't. But if it ain't us, go talk to a friend, go talk to a professional. Don't talk to your tia or your tío or what's up.
That bought a home
Talk
20
to
years
a
ago.
Or to the
professional
people who don't own homes.
mortgage banker and a real estate professional, a realtor, about what you know, what's available to you and what does this look like now versus later? Because I promise you, you're gonna end up paying more further down the road if you're just waiting, hoping for rates to drop or prices to go down. I'm sorry,
So more likely is you get a lower interest rate but a higher payment.
Right.
And when you're going out there and you're seeking
a
that
higher
advice,
price.
when you're going out there and seeking that advice, don't start with, is right now a good time to buy?
Right.
Are you
your
ready?
question
When you're
should
ready,
be,
it's a good time to
what
buy.
do I need to do
To buy.
Yeah,
And I
because
think that's what-
everyone's
I think
time is different.
Everybody's
Right.
like, well, is
Everyone's
it a good
time is
to
When
buy?
you can buy. That's the answer.
No.
Like when you can.
What do I need to do?
I bet
to
it-
be
yes,
able to
yes,
be
That's
ready to
what
buy?
I did too. Like I didn't know when I was going to buy again or if I could ever buy again, but I still went for advice.
Because because you got that opportunity again. And you realize, okay, well, I'm leaving in a studio. I'm going to go back out there and put my family again in another rental. I mean, owning a home is security. It's security for your family.
And kudos to you for not giving up, because 3 times.
3 times the charge.
I like the fact that you just never stopped asking questions.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
get
yeah.
yourself informed
Bien
and
preguntona la Jessica.
okay, I'm not ready now, but what does this look like now, Mirna?
I think
Or,
my
you know,
favorite part is her studio.
right.
It's cute too.
So these are real life stories. As much as we want to make our shows fun and happy, and it's always going to be a feel good. We laughed, we cried today. It was a bit of a roller coaster, went up and down, but more importantly, we stayed up. Jessica stays up. She's building
Equity.
her history,
Sorry.
her wealth, her equity,
For her
she's
kids.
putting her family in a great position to continue to grow in any and every way.
Right.
So kudos to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We thank you for being here. You're not going anywhere because we do have a second show.
Carteles.
But, again, thank you all for hanging out with us. We're at the end of today's episode, but continue to check us out. Please shoot us a DM. Please give us a call. Who has that phone number? Don't make me look bad.
IG, Compra Casa San Diego.
All right, cool. Check us out on Compra Casa San Diego.
I know
And
it's 619-726.
7348, that's my number. Boop, boop.
519
No.
He threw out my number.
7299.
Thank you, Diego.
man. All right. Well,
Shit.
thank you guys again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Isn't it 726?
That's my...